There comes a time in a man's life when the illusions of youth begin to fall away. The reckless fire of the 20s dims, and a new kind of fire must be lit, one forged not from wild ambition, but from clarity, conviction, and discipline. If you are in your 30s or 40s, this is no longer rehearsal. This is no longer a practice round. This is the moment when the choices you make determine the trajectory of the rest of your life. Look around you. How many people in your age bracket are already prisoners of resignation? They speak as if their best days are gone. They wear mediocrity like a badge of honor. They've traded the hunger of their dreams for the safety of routine. But you, if you are listening now, you have not surrendered. Deep inside, you know that you were not put here to merely exist. You were put here to create, to build, to conquer. Napoleon Hill once said, "Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit." By your 30s or 40s, you've faced setbacks. Perhaps you've seen dreams collapse, businesses fail, relationships fall apart. And yet, these very scars are proof you are still in the fight. A man or woman without scars is a man or woman who never dared to try. The difference between those who rise and those who fall permanently lies in one decision. Will you allow the failures of your past to become anchors, or will you forge them into weapons? Think of Edison. At 40 years old, he was not resting on a single success. He was still hungry, still burning, still willing to endure thousands of failed experiments for a single invention. At 40, he was at war with the impossible. Think of Henry Ford. He failed twice, broke multiple times, and was ridiculed by the automotive elite. But in his 40s, he unleashed the Model T, and the world would never be the same. These men did not ask if they were too old to start again. They asked only if they were willing to pay the price for greatness. The tragedy of most people in their 30s and 40s is not lack of opportunity, but lack of vision. They have eyes but cannot see beyond the bills, the obligations, the endless carousel of distractions. They've been lulled into thinking that life is a treadmill to be endured, not a mountain to be conquered. But you must ask yourself, am I living or merely existing? Am I carrying the fire of my vision, or am I smothering it under the weight of conformity? Success does not come to the man who waits. Success comes to the man who decides to think differently, act boldly, and live intentionally. The world respects the man who has direction, who knows what he wants and will not rest until he gets it. That man is magnetic. That man bends circumstances in his favor because his clarity creates momentum. Your 30s and 40s are not the end of your story. They are the forge of your legacy. This is the window when experience meets energy, when lessons from failure merge with the power of maturity. You are no longer the naive dreamer of your 20s. You are battle-tested. You have lived, you have bled, you have endured. And now you must decide, will you allow those experiences to make you bitter, or will you allow them to make you unstoppable? Hill wrote that the starting point of all achievement is desire. Not casual wanting, not wishful thinking, but burning desire, the kind that consumes your excuses and ignites your soul. If your desire has cooled, you must reignite it. If you have forgotten what it means to dream, you must remember. Ask yourself, what do I want my life to stand for when I am gone? What will they say about me when my name is etched in stone? Too many drift into middle age with no compass, no target, no vision. They work jobs they despise to buy things they do not need, living lives that slowly suffocate their potential. But a man with vision cannot be stopped. A woman with vision cannot be ignored. Clarity of purpose transforms ordinary existence into extraordinary impact. Do not underestimate the power of one decision made in your 30s or 40s. One decision can change the entire trajectory of your destiny. At 35, Ray Kroc was selling paper cups. At 52, he stumbled into a small hamburger stand and turned it into McDonald's, the empire that would redefine fast food. At 40, Sam Walton was just beginning the empire of Walmart. Age is not the enemy, stagnation is. The truth is simple: if you are in your 30s or 40s, you are not too late, you are right on time. The foundation of everything you have experienced has been preparing you for this very moment. The trials, the failures, the false starts, they were not detours, they were training. Every bruise, every scar, every late night spent questioning your worth was sharpening your blade for the battle ahead. And make no mistake, this is a battle against complacency, a battle against fear, a battle against the inner voice that whispers, settle, Stay comfortable. Don't risk. That voice is the enemy, and if you bow to it, you will spend the rest of your life in quiet despair. But if you silence it, if you rise against it, if you decide that the fire in you will not be extinguished, then you will discover what few ever do, the power of a mind ablaze with purpose. This is your age of awakening. This is your moment to declare war on mediocrity. This is the time when you must either step into destiny or step aside and watch others claim it. The secret of transformation lies not in years, but in decisions. Age is a number, but choice is eternal. Every morning you rise, you are standing at a crossroads. One road leads to slow decline, to comfort, to excuses disguised as logic. The other road is narrow, steep, and demanding, but it leads to greatness. The question is not whether you are capable. The question is whether you are willing. Do you understand the danger of these years? The 30s and 40s are the silent killers of ambition because they whisper the most dangerous lie a human being can believe. It's too late for you. Too late to start over. Too late to build. Too late to risk. And yet history spits in the face of that lie. Lincoln was a failed shopkeeper in his 40s before he became president. Colonel Sanders was 60, 5 before he franchised Kentucky Fried Chicken. Age is not your prison, it is your proof of endurance. It means you have survived long enough to build something lasting. But survival is not the goal. Existence is not the prize. You must rise from survival into significance. This is the time to step into mastery. Mastery of mind, mastery of discipline, mastery of desire. Napoleon Hill insisted the mind is the greatest of all assets. Wealth, power, achievement, all are born first in thought. What you permit to dominate your thinking in your 30s and 40s will dominate the rest of your life. So what dominates your thoughts? Fear. Regret? Self-doubt. Then you are poisoning your own future. Replace them with vision, with definite purpose, with a burning obsession to create. Imagine your life as a canvas. By now, you've painted many strokes, some beautiful, some messy, some you regret. But the canvas is far from complete. The masterpiece is not finished. What colors will you choose next? Will you darken the canvas with excuses, or will you illuminate it with brilliance? Every day you delay is not neutral. It is erosion. Your body may endure routine, but your spirit does not. When the soul is denied its purpose, it begins to rot. That is why so many in their 40s walk like ghosts, alive but not living, breathing but not inspired. Do not let that be you. You must fuel your spirit with purpose, or it will wither. Purpose is not given, it is chosen. You must decide what hill you are willing to die on. You must declare what matters enough that you will sacrifice for it. Discipline flows effortlessly once purpose is clear. A man with no purpose needs motivation every day. A man with purpose needs none, for he is driven by fire within. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. Without it, desire is wasted energy. With it, desire becomes destiny. Consider Andrew Carnegie, who in his youth was dirt poor, working 12-hour shifts in a textile mill. By his 40s, through discipline and vision, he had built an empire of steel that reshaped America. Carnegie did not stumble into greatness. He constructed it brick by brick, habit by habit, decision by decision. Ask yourself now, what habits rule you? Are you a slave to distraction, or are you a master of focus? Do you rise with intention, or do you drift with hesitation? Discipline does not mean perfection. It means refusing to negotiate with weakness. It means saying no to what does not serve your vision. It means waking up and commanding your day, rather than surrendering it to the noise of the world. The danger of these years is comfort. You may have just enough success to feel safe, just enough stability to quiet the hunger. But safety is the most seductive prison. Comfort is the enemy of greatness because it convinces you that you do not need to try anymore. But remember this truth: the moment you stop growing, you start dying. The only way to honor the life you've been given is to keep climbing, keep stretching, keep demanding more of yourself. Do not misunderstand, this is not about greed or endless dissatisfaction. This is about expansion. A tree that stops growing does not remain the same, it begins to decay. So it is with you. You must grow to remain alive. You must expand your mind, your skills, your influence, your contribution. The world does not need more spectators. It needs creators, builders, leaders, men and women who refuse to let time dictate their destiny. Gratitude is the soil in which resilience grows. By your 30s and 40s, you have experienced both blessings and burdens. Gratitude allows you to see that both were gifts. The victories gave you confidence, the defeats gave you wisdom. The friends who stayed gave you support, the friends who left gave you strength. Gratitude transforms bitterness into fuel. It allows you to look back at everything that happened, and instead of saying, "Why me?" you say, "Thank you for preparing me." When gratitude and vision unite, you become unstoppable. Vision without gratitude becomes arrogance. Gratitude without vision becomes passivity. But together, they forge resilience, the iron spine of success. Resilience means you do not break when life bends you. It means you absorb the blows, you learn, you adapt, and you rise again stronger than before. Adaptability is survival. In your 30s and 40s, you cannot cling to old ways. The world has shifted. Technology moves faster than thought, industries rise and collapse, and opportunities hide in places you once ignored. Those who cling to the past become relics. Those who embrace change become pioneers. The ones who thrive are not the strongest nor the smartest. They are the ones who adapt without fear. Look at Walt Disney. In his early 40s, his studio was bankrupt, his ideas mocked. Yet he adapted, innovated, and created a vision so powerful that decades after his death, his empire still expands. He refused to let failure define him. He let it refine him. That is the choice you now face. Will you let your failures be tombstones, or will you let them be stepping stones? Every great legacy is built in silence before it is revealed in triumph. The late nights when no one applauds, the mornings when no one cares, the seasons when you feel invisible. That is when greatness is being forged. The seeds you plant in your 30s and 40s, in the soil of discipline, resilience, gratitude, and vision, will grow into forests of abundance in the decades to come. But only if you plant them. Only if you refuse to waste these years in idle comfort. The clock is ticking, but not in the way most people think. It is not time running out. It is time calling you forward. These years are not a countdown to decline. They are an invitation to ascend. You are no longer a beginner fumbling in the dark. You have scars, experience, knowledge, and perspective. The question is whether you will weaponize them or waste them. Most people let life harden them. They confuse wisdom with resignation. They confuse maturity with surrender. They say, "I've learned to be realistic," when in truth they've simply learned to shrink. Realism is the camouflage of fear. What the world calls realism, Napoleon Hill would call a poverty of imagination. The dreamers, the builders, the creators, they are the so-called unrealistic ones. But the world does not remember the realist. It remembers the visionary. Do not make the mistake of lowering your sights simply because you have stumbled before. The higher the vision, the more worthy the struggle. Michelangelo warned that the greatest danger is not that we aim too high and miss, but that we aim too low and hit. In your 30s and 40s, the temptation to lower the bar grows stronger. Bills, responsibilities, obligations. These are real, but they are not chains unless you choose them to be. Your mind is still your greatest battlefield. What you think about yourself in these years becomes prophecy. Say you are too old, and you will be. Say you are too late, and you will be. But speak with conviction that your greatest days are ahead, and you summon strength no calendar can measure. Belief is the foundation of action. Without it, your dreams starve before they ever draw breath. Look again at Thomas Edison. At 32, he had already invented the phonograph. But at 40, he was still chasing the impossible, the electric light. He failed more than 1,000 times, and critics declared him mad. But he did not bow to failure. He converted it into fuel. His belief in the possibility of light was stronger than the world's belief in darkness. And because of that, we live in his illumination today. Belief must be welded to clarity. You cannot wander into greatness. You cannot stumble into legacy. You must define it. Take a blank sheet of paper and write down, in piercing detail, the life you intend to build. Not the life you wish for, but the life you decide upon. Decide on your financial destiny. Decide on your health. Decide on your relationships. Decide on the impact you will leave. A vague life produces vague results. A definite life produces definite results. Napoleon Hill called it definiteness of purpose. It is the compass of the successful. Without it, you drift. With it, you command. Hill studied hundreds of the wealthiest, most powerful men of his era, and every one of them had this trait. They knew precisely what they wanted and refused to be distracted until it was theirs. If you have not yet defined your purpose in your 30s or 40s, you are driving without a map. You may move, but you will not arrive. But once you know your purpose, discipline becomes joy, not burden. Every sacrifice becomes fuel. Every obstacle becomes a test of worthiness. The man who knows his purpose is not easily broken because he sees setbacks not as endings, but as stepping stones toward destiny. Now, purpose alone is not enough. You must act with urgency. A burning desire without action is nothing but smoke. The law of inertia is merciless. Objects at rest stay at rest unless acted upon by force. If you wait for the perfect time, you will wait until your final breath. The perfect time is the moment you decide. Action converts faith into evidence. Consider Theodore Roosevelt. At 36, he lost his wife and his mother on the same day. Broken, devastated, he could have retreated into despair. But instead, he fled to the Dakota Badlands, rebuilt his strength, and returned with a renewed fire. By 42, he was President of the United States. His life teaches us that crisis can be the birthplace of destiny if you act. So what actions are you delaying? What dream sits in the back of your mind, gathering dust because you are waiting for certainty? There is no certainty. There is only faith and movement. The bridge between where you stand and where you long to be is built plank by plank with consistent action. Not occasional bursts of inspiration, but daily, deliberate steps. Momentum is the hidden secret of success. Small steps compound into unstoppable force. A man who begins with one disciplined habit, rising early, reading daily, building skills, creates a ripple that reshapes his entire life. Do not despise small beginnings. Every empire begins with one brick. Every masterpiece begins with one stroke. The man who delays because his beginning feels too small will never taste the greatness that grows from it. You must also guard your environment with ruthless vigilance. By now, you have seen the truth. People either fuel you or drain you. In your 20s, you may have entertained every friendship, every distraction, every shallow connection. But in your 30s and 40s, time is too precious to waste on the faithless, the aimless, the jealous, and the complacent. Surround yourself with men and women of vision, and you will rise with them. Stay among the mediocre, and they will smother your fire until only embers remain. Remember, this mediocrity is contagious, but so is greatness. One bold mind in your circle can elevate you higher than years of effort in isolation. Seek out mentors, seek out peers who challenge you, seek out those who make you uncomfortable with their excellence. Iron sharpens iron, but only if it is willing to clash. And yet, never forget that your greatest ally and your greatest enemy live in the same place, your own mind. What you whisper to yourself in silence will either crown you or chain you. Tell yourself you are too late, and you build your own prison. Tell yourself you are capable, chosen, destined, and you build your own kingdom. The voice you obey becomes the life you live. So as you stand in these defining years, the question is simple: which voice will you obey? The voice of fear or the voice of destiny? Destiny does not shout, it whispers. It does not arrive in thunder, but in quiet conviction. And yet most people miss it because they are too distracted, too comfortable, too busy numbing themselves from the very fire that could save them. But you must not miss it. In your 30s and 40s, destiny does not come as a wild dream alone. It comes as a demand. It calls you to stop playing small, to stop betraying your own potential, to stop living half alive. This is the age when excuses become lethal. In your 20s, excuses cost you little. Time was abundant, energy was overflowing. But in your 30s and 40s, every excuse robs your children of a stronger future, robs your legacy of depth, robs the world of what only you can give. Excuses at this stage are theft, and the thief is you. Think of Abraham Lincoln. By 40, he had suffered more defeat than most men could bear. Business failures, a nervous breakdown, political losses so humiliating that most would have quit forever. Yet he refused to make excuses. He kept going because he believed his purpose was not finished. At 52, when most had written him off as a failure, he became president. His story is proof that persistence in the face of relentless disappointment is what turns obscurity into greatness. And what is persistence, if not a declaration that your vision is worth more than your pain? Hill called persistence the essential quality that separates winners from quitters. Talent is common, intelligence is everywhere, but persistence is rare. Persistence is forged in silence, when no one claps, when no one believes, when no one even notices. To persist is to believe in your destiny more than you believe in your doubts. But persistence without resilience breaks a man. You must become unbreakable, not because life will be kind, but because life will be ruthless. You will lose things. You will lose people. You will lose battles. But you must never lose yourself. Resilience means bending without breaking, burning without burning out, rising without resentment. It is the art of taking life's cruelty and using it as raw material to build strength. Your 30s and 40s test resilience more than any other time. You've lived enough to know disappointment. You've carried enough weight to feel weary. And yet, this is the season when resilience becomes your crown. Anyone can smile in their 20s when the world is wide open. But it is the man or woman who keeps building in the face of storms, setbacks, and fatigue. Those are the ones who become legends. Legends are not made of comfort. They are carved in struggle, sharpened in failure, and polished in perseverance. Think of Nelson Mandela, who spent the prime of his life, 27 years, in a prison cell. When he walked out in his 70s, he could have been bitter. He could have been broken. Instead, he was refined into a leader whose resilience carried an entire nation. He proved that time is not your enemy if you use it as your teacher. Ask yourself, what prison have you built around yourself? Perhaps it is a prison of fear or regret or routine. Perhaps you have locked yourself in the belief that it is too late to change. Tear down those walls. Break open that cell. You are not a prisoner of age, you are a prisoner of mindset. Free your mind, and your years will transform from chains into weapons. Adaptation is survival, but innovation is victory. It is not enough to keep up with change. You must lead it. This is the era of reinvention. If your career has stalled, reinvent it. If your body has weakened, rebuild it. If your vision has blurred, rewrite it. The 30s and 40s are not the time to cling to the man you used to be. They are the time to sculpt the man you were meant to be. Do not cling to past versions of yourself. Too many try to drag the corpse of who they once were into the present. Let it go. You are not the man you were at 20, and thank God for it. You are wiser now, sharper now, capable of more depth and more strength, but only if you stop trying to relive yesterday and begin to command tomorrow. Purpose, persistence, resilience, reinvention, these are not luxuries. They are survival. They are the difference between a life remembered and a life forgotten. And make no mistake, mediocrity is the graveyard where countless dreams are buried. Do not let yours be among them. Think of Andrew Carnegie's mentor, who once told him, "Andrew, you must fix your eyes on a great goal and never look away. The man who knows what he wants, and wants it badly enough, will get it." That advice transformed a poor immigrant into one of the richest men of his era. Fix your eyes. Decide what you want, not what you'll settle for. Want it so deeply that excuses feel like insults, that distraction feels like betrayal. And then act. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Your legacy is not waiting for the perfect moment. It is waiting for your decision. Too many in their 30s and 40s confuse planning with progress. They spend years preparing, studying, dreaming, but never moving. Planning is important, but execution is power. Stop waiting to feel ready. You will never feel ready. Leap and grow your wings on the way down. This is not recklessness. This is faith. Faith that your mind can solve problems as they come. Faith that your resilience can carry you through storms. Faith that the universe responds to boldness, not hesitation. History bows not to the cautious, but to the courageous. So rise. Refuse to surrender. Refuse to shrink. Refuse to let these defining years pass you by while you whisper excuses into the silence. Rise, because the world does not need another spectator. It needs a builder. It needs a dreamer who will not quit. It needs you. You must decide what kind of life you will write with the years still left to you. Will it be a tragedy of wasted potential, or an epic of relentless pursuit? These middle years, your 30s and 40s, are the furnace of destiny. They are the moment when all the lessons of your youth must be tested, forged, and proven. Do not mistake stability for success. Stability without growth is stagnation. Too many mistake the mortgage, the steady paycheck, the predictable routine as the prize, when in reality it is the cage. You were not born to pace in circles like a caged lion, tamed by comfort and predictability. You were born to roam, to hunt, to conquer the wilderness of possibility. The wildness of your spirit is not dead. It is waiting for you to awaken it. Napoleon Hill taught that every man must ally himself with his own imagination, for imagination is the workshop of the soul. What you dare to imagine in these years will either liberate you or limit you. The greatest danger is not failing. It is forgetting how to dream. Do not let the dust of routine cover the fire of your imagination. Dare to see again. Dare to envision again. Dare to believe that your best days are not behind you but roaring ahead. Look at Walt Disney. In his 40s, he was mocked bankrupt and written off by critics who believed he was finished. But he dreamed bigger than his failures. Out of those years of struggle came Disneyland, a vision so grand the world called it impossible. And yet today, millions walk through the gates of his imagination made real. His story is proof that the visions of your 40s can outshine the doubts of your critics. The critics will always be there. They will sneer, they will laugh, they will point to your failures as evidence of your limits, but their words mean nothing. History has never been written by the critics, it has always been written by the creators. Edison, Ford, Carnegie, Lincoln, they all had critics, louder and more vicious than the voices you face today. But they pressed forward because their vision was louder than the world's opinion. Let yours be the same. But vision alone is not enough. You must couple it with discipline so sharp it cuts through distraction. In these years, distraction is deadlier than ever. You have more responsibility, more noise, more temptations. Your attention is your greatest asset. Guard it as you would guard a fortune. Every wasted hour is a robbery, every wasted day a wound, every wasted year a tragedy, and the thief, again, is you. Discipline is the mark of the mature. It is saying yes to what matters most and no to everything else. It is mastering the morning before the morning masters you. It is controlling the mind before the mind controls you. Discipline is freedom disguised as restriction. It is the skeleton that allows your vision to take form. And yet, even with vision and discipline, you will face storms. They will come when you least expect them. Financial loss, betrayal, illness, setbacks that shake you to your core. But understand these storms are not sent to destroy you, but to strengthen you. The oak tree grows its deepest roots in the fiercest winds. Your storms are not curses. They are confirmations. They mean life has deemed you strong enough to carry more. Henry Ford faced storms. His early companies collapsed, his investors abandoned him, and the so-called experts declared the automobile a passing fad. But Ford did not bend to the storm. He became the storm. By 40, he unleashed the Model T, and the world bent around him. Your storms are not the end. They are the beginning of a new power awakening in you. Gratitude is your anchor in the storm. Without it, you drown in bitterness. With it, you rise in resilience. Gratitude allows you to see meaning where others see misery, to see lessons where others see loss. It does not mean you deny pain. It means you refuse to let pain define you. Every scar becomes a reminder not of what broke you, but of what built you. And when gratitude joins forces with faith, you become unstoppable. Faith is not blind. It is bold. It is the decision to move forward when you cannot yet see the finish line. It is the refusal to wait for certainty before you act. Faith is building the bridge while you walk on it. Faith is planting the seed before the soil looks fertile. Faith is declaring, I will rise, even while you are on your knees. Consider Ray Kroc. At 52, with no fortune, no fame, and no certainty, he believed in the vision of a tiny hamburger stand. With faith, persistence, and action, he transformed McDonald's into one of the greatest business empires on earth. His story is proof it is not the calendar that decides your destiny. It is the courage to believe and act, no matter when you start. So I ask you again, what story are you writing with these years? Will your 30s and 40s be remembered as the decades you surrendered, or the decades you awakened? Will they be the years you grew dull, or the years you sharpened your sword? Will they be the proof that life defeated you, or the proof that nothing could? You hold the pen, you control the ink. You command the narrative. The critics do not write it. The doubters do not write it. The failures do not write it. You alone decide. And the decision is made not in one grand moment, but in the quiet choices of each day. Every morning you rise is another page. Every action you take is another line. Every sacrifice you embrace is another paragraph. And one day your story will be read aloud by your children, by your community, by history itself. What will it say? What will it say about you? Will it say you bowed your head and lived small, or that you stood tall and carved your name into the fabric of time? Will it say you let your best years fade quietly, or that you burned brighter when others dimmed? Will it say you merely survived, or that you lived with such force, such intensity, that generations yet unborn will feel your echo? The choice is yours. It has always been yours. The power of decision is the single greatest gift every human being possesses. You cannot control the hour of your birth, nor the hour of your death, but you control everything in between. That is the battlefield. That is the kingdom. That is where destinies are written and empires are built. The world does not care how many times you have failed. The world does not care how old you are. The world does not care what excuses you whisper to yourself in the dark. The world responds only to results. It bends only to the man or woman who dares to demand more of life. And life will not give you what you deserve. It will only give you what you claim. So claim it. Claim your health back. Claim your finances back. Claim your vision back. Claim your soul back. No more drifting, no more waiting, no more shrinking. This is your time. This is your season. This is your call to arms. Rise with a mind ablaze with clarity. Rise with a heart set on fire with gratitude. Rise with a spine of steel forged in resilience. Rise with a faith so unshakable that no storm, no critic, no failure, no fear can pull you down again. Remember the words of Napoleon Hill. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That truth has not expired. It has not weakened. It has not grown old. It is as alive for you today as it was for Carnegie, for Ford, for Edison, for Disney, for every man and woman who refused to surrender. You stand now in the same position they once stood, in the middle years of life, surrounded by doubt, tested by failure, called foolish by the crowd. And like them, you must decide, will you believe the crowd or will you believe the vision inside of you? The crowd will always say you cannot. That is their nature. But visionaries are not built from the crowd. They are built by silence, by persistence, by courage in the unseen hours. You have lived long enough to know the truth. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody will hand you destiny. You must seize it, shape it, and set it ablaze with your own two hands. And when you do, everything changes. Your children will see a new model of possibility. Your community will witness the power of courage. Your family line will never again walk in mediocrity because you broke the curse of small thinking. You became the proof that destiny is not inherited, it is created. So let this moment be your line in the sand. Let this moment be the day the old you dies and the new you rises. Let this be the day you silence the excuses, the fears, the doubts, and declare with fire, I am not finished. I have just begun. And when you rise tomorrow morning, do not rise as the same man or woman who went to sleep. Rise as the architect of a new destiny. Rise as the commander of your mind. Rise as the one who refuses to waste another second. Rise and walk into the day with purpose so strong that nothing can shake it. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for support. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Move, act, decide. Because every day you hesitate is a day you lose. And every day you act is a day you multiply. You are in your 30s, your 40s, perhaps beyond. Good. You are not too late. You are right on time. Right on time to rewrite your story. Right on time to build your empire. Right on time to ignite a fire that will burn until your final breath. History will not ask your age. History will ask only what you built, what you gave, what you dared, what you left behind. And when it speaks your name, let it say, here was one who refused to surrender. Here was one who rose in the face of fear. Here was one who lived full, died empty, and left a legacy that will never fade. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your call. Do not waste it. Do not delay it. Do not betray it. Rise now. Decide now. Act now. Because the world is waiting, not for another spectator, but for you. And when your story is told, let it not be whispered in regret, but thundered in triumph.